All right, quick video recap. Week 2, inside Donovan. This week I went in with some games that focused on boundaries, taking and giving focus, and a little bit more agility of what to do when things don't necessarily go as planned. To give the guys some tools and some practice dealing with situations like that. And myself, I had to take my own advice because I had this, big long lesson plan of all these games, and we started out with some shares of, the guys of what's going on. And as I mentioned last week, there's a gentleman was up for parole for the board. Unfortunately, he didn't get it, and just taking some time to process that and deal with it. And I love that it's such a safe environment where the guys can just be themselves and talk about that. Because, think about this in other situations. I honestly don't think that if you don't have a group like that and you get, rejected for parole, you internalize it. And to have a space to just let that out, is awesome. And another thing, another big lesson there of, when the cards that you are dealt doesn't necessarily go, as planned, and how do we respond to that? And this gentleman, though he was, of course, upset because he knows the transformation, that he's done and been through. He's been in prison for, 39 years. That's as long as I've been alive. And I, was told that, prior to, being part of this group that's been working on the TEDx program, and, now this little improv, thing that I'm doing, he didn't really speak much. So he's had massive transformation in such a short time. And to know that, but not seeing that reflected outward and not getting your outcome, I can see how that can wear on someone. And so, to see him, just process that and to, be even more determined the next time, to see the positive and see the opportunities instead of just focusing on the negative is huge. And myself, like I said, I had this, long lesson plan of all these games, and that took a little bit longer than expected. And then we had some visitors join the group, and we had some introductions there, and so I had to, on the fly, just readjust and assess the situation and throw out some games that are going to be beneficial. And the games that we played were, awesome, but more importantly were some of the things that I heard in the feedback. Someone had said, "You don't smile like this in the yard. That could invite danger." But in this playtime, they felt safe. And you would be surprised at some of these smiles that I saw on these gentlemen's faces. And it looked like kids. Like you had 3, 4, 5-year-olds just playing. And that, is the nature of play. You think about animals in the wild, and I talked about this in the circle of, they only do what is necessary. However, animals in the wild, they play. And a play, when you're in it, is a very vulnerable experience. You do risk potentially being attacked, but yet you do it anyway. And these gentlemen acknowledge that. I've never seen you smile like that ever. And the joy that they were getting for just letting themselves, be there. And the connections that they're making. Someone once said, we had this exercise of giving and taking focus, and someone said, prior to this, walking around the yard, I get really anxious when someone's behind me, naturally so, because of the environment. Scared that someone may, do something. And imagine just being in that state, that constant state of stress and fear. It can wear you down. But in this playful environment, this gentleman got a chance to just play around with that and be more open to it. So now they're shifting perspective. So I just love the transformation that is taking place in such a short period of time. And we acknowledge on our walk out is that I give work like improv classes at a theater on the regular, and the transformation that happened in there was more than I've seen in some improv classes. The vulnerability and the permission that they gave each other and the intimacy that happened, I don't see that regular in these improv classes that people are paying top dollar to do. So it's been an amazing experience. This is just week number 2. We got a few more weeks left. Thank you for sticking along with me on this journey, and if you have any feedback, just leave it in the comments below. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.